Hello, my name is Antonio Paco and today we'll see the best tips for your TOEFL exam. Usually, when someone asks you something in English, you only need to say yes or not. There's your possible answer to some other questions. But here, the factual information questions are the answer for information questions that are varied, because they used to talk about a specific kind of information. In this information question, I also call the WH questions, because many of these words that are used to ask of this type of question begin with W. H. One example is who. Who. This refers to who was the one who do what, right? And this means the people, names, or identifying information. The other one. Whom. Whom means to people, names, or other identifying objects used as objects. The what. In what we refer to things, it could be a subject or object. In whose, it means to have an ownership. In where means location, places. In when, it means to time in general. In what time, that means to a specific time. And to ask why, it means two reasons. To say why you're meaning that. In how, which means to manner or methods. And last, the what kind of. In what kind of, we refer to describe names for categories. The best way to know about an answer in your TOEFL exam is to have your vocabulary questions very well. In this kind of information is that you are having your specific kind of words and you're having your clues. If you're recognizing that part of what you're reading and taking into account in your next question, you will be better understanding the context. And here's something important. The context of the sentence is going to be the most useful part to you to catch the answers. The rhetorical purpose questions. These are also questions that you must search for a specific kind of information, but in this case, this information is not plainly stated. These ask that why the author has to represent a particular piece of information. If you cannot identify the correct answer, you should get another way to approach to these kind of questions to eliminate the wrong answers. In other words, it's about how certain ideas are supported by details, examples, definitions that are important, but they are asking you the why. I've been studying English for a while, and I can tell you that the tips that you should know to pass your exam is, first of all, to take notes about some kind of words. As we already see in the vocabulary words, we have to take this kind of concept and context to know some kind of specific words that maybe they are going to ask you in some questions. I like to take some notes in my sheet of paper. Another tip is that you should be extra concentrated in what you are reading. It's not important of what you're reading, it's not how you are reading. If you're really taking all the information to your system and take it well, and you're also reading and understanding why you're reading, not reading, and that's it, you'll know the most information, and it could be easier if you have to find it or to search it again, but you also have this information in your brain. In temperate questions, we have to recognize the key phrases in a question to decipher its meaning and distinguish between ideas that are directly implicit in the reading. Usually, this kind of question is that you also have to eliminate the wrong answers, in which you have to recognize that case phrases in the question to decipher if in the reading there's the same meaning of words. It's not too difficult. The only thing that you have to do is to distinguish between the two ideas that are telling you, trying to know which of those are directly asking to you. And finally, the tips that you should know before the exam is to sleep very well. If you sleep well, you're not stressed. If you're not stressed, you're not tired. And if you're not tired, you're going to be able to read all the text, all the information, and finally, to process all the questions that they are asking to you. Study at least a week before. Most of the students that we are now in the school forget to study about their exams, and usually for those difficult exams as the TOEFL. So take your time, take it slow, study some parts of what you know that is going to be in the exam, and a week before at least to get all the information. And the last tip, try to not be stressed. Because if you're not stressed, if you're relaxed or you're taking your exam, it's going to be easier to you. You're not going to be very frustrated. You're not going to be maybe anxious at taking the exam. No, you're going to be fine. You're going to be reading. And in that way, you can process better the information. So, you know what are those tips? You know what is exam? So, I hope this helped to you. Thanks! And finally,